It's funny, like I'm over here dancing and all of a sudden I see my face. Like,
Oh no, it's time to get serious now.
like
Welcome to the Top 5 at 5. We have a wonderful show for you today. Please like and share, like and share. Tell your friends to join. We got a lot of controversial things to discuss today. This has been a really, really super busy week. A lot has happened, so much that we just could only pick a few things to talk about because there's just so much to talk about. There's stuff happening everywhere in the Caribbean, in New York, in Texas, in Jamaica, in St. Vincent, in Antigua and Barbuda. So we're gonna just touch on what we can touch on in this one short, sweet hour that we have. And what I want to find out first of all is what has been going on with you ladies this week. Fill me in.
Okay, well, let me see. In my little world over here, I'm going to talk about self-care because for the last 3 weeks, I had a cough, which I ignored. Because I was working and I was working on some other projects and I was just be like, oh, it's going to pass. And it didn't pass. And it turned into bronchitis. And I thought I was going to die.
oh wow.
I was in bed for 2 days. And that's what prompted me to really go by the doctor because I was like, oh, my head is active, but my body is saying you are not getting up from this bed. So that's why I thought I was going to die. So,
Yeah.
so I made my peace with the Lord and I said all the good stuff and I asked for forgiveness and I did all this stuff, right? But anyway, so from being funny, you know I really had to take this seriously because when I heard I had bronchitis and I was supposed to travel, I'm supposed to be in New York right now because my birthday is on Wednesday and I can't travel for 10 days. So so what I wanted to tell you ladies is just check on yourself. If you have a little cough or you have a little something, you know, even if it's a little rash and you're just saying, oh, it's gonna pass, just check the doctor. You know, reconnect with yourself. Use that time. What I did, I reconnected with myself. I read a lot of books. I talked to friends and family, and I just reprioritized my life. That's what I did. And you see in the back here, and I decorated my back here.
I love it.
I love the back. I
Thank you.
absolutely love the back.
Nice
Yeah.
background. Yeah.
So I did that. So I just wanted to say, guys, as women, take care of yourself, please. Please, self-care is important. So that's what's going on in my little world.
Well, we're
Hello,
glad that you didn't
Geraldine.
die, and we're glad that you're still here. And
Thank you. Yes.
yeah.
Hello, Geraldine. Hello, Lacey J. Hey, Judith. Good evening. I think Geraldine was the first one to sign on today. We appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely. So what's happening with you, Diani?
Where do I begin? So I'm here in Jamaica. Got here yesterday, which is always fun.
Yes.
Got my flight in, had my negative COVID test, piggyback on Hermelin saying, you know, taking care of herself. Hey, Lacey J. Yes. Oh, I forgot. Two of our top 5 girls, 2 of our top 5 ladies are not here today. I think Victoria's joining us later.
Possibly, if she gets that little
If they can. So we're the top 3. We can have two hosts on the side. Spice, Buffy, and Lacey J. You guys are the next 2. So just hide in the corner and you make up our top 5. But yes, I'm here in Jamaica. I got here yesterday and it's always good to be home, especially during COVID-19. I don't know how many people are traveling. I'm curious to see if anybody else is traveling internationally. So if you've been traveling internationally, let me know and let me know what your experiences are. I took American Airlines yesterday and they did have the middle seat empty. So that was very reassuring. Had my negative COVID test. I traveled to Jamaica, which requires a negative COVID test. And once you land, I take another test. If you're a business traveler, once you land, you do take another test. But if you're traveling for a vacation, they do ask that you quarantine instead. So I'm curious. Lacey J says she's shy, she'll spectate. So I'm curious to see if anybody else is traveling internationally. Talking about Jamaica, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if anybody, have you ladies seen the chalkboard lessons? I don't know if any of you guys have seen it.
I heard about it.
I heard about it as
Yeah,
well.
I've
Yeah,
seen it.
so just for our audience, I don't know if anybody, Cheryl, anybody, Spice Buffy, if you've seen the chalkboard lessons, with COVID-19 going on, and we have a clip showing. I'll let you guys look at the chalkboard lessons, and then I'll tell you a little bit about it.
Well, they can't hear it; they can only see the
Oh,
visual.
look at me
Yeah.
acting like I'm on CNN. I'm like, we'll be right back while you look at the chalkboard lessons. So,
Yes. Explain.
ladies, what you're seeing is a teacher in Jamaica. Her name is Tanika McCoy Phipps. Miss Phipps literally leaves her house at 6 a.m. every morning. And what she does, she writes the lessons for school. How cool is this? She writes the lessons for school on these chalkboards in the neighborhood of, I think this one is in Union Village. So she grabs all these teachers and they go around and they write the lessons on the walls within neighborhoods. And this might seem archaic to you, but keep in mind, while Jamaica is going through the pandemic, they've gone to online school. The problem and challenge with that, ladies, is that they have not every student has an iPad or a tablet. Not everybody have Wi-Fi. I was in the rural area today and I tried to make it back to Kingston so I could have proper Wi-Fi for the show. So I definitely understand what these students are going through. And
Right.
Miss Phipps was recognized by UNICEF for this work. And I want everybody, Geraldine, you too, I know you just went on lockdown in London for the next month in the UK, but I want you all to Google chalkboard lessons because this woman, I think, is phenomenal. I've always stressed about like the importance of education, getting our kids out of poverty, not only in the United States, but even more so here in Jamaica. And to see this woman taking this up, I thought that was amazing what she does. Google it, chalkboard lessons.
Mhm. Well, she's absolutely a teacher with heart, and she really loves her work.
She
So
definitely does.
she needs to be recognized for what she's doing
Kudos to her.
100%.
Mhm.
And over here in the US, a lot of us often have a lot of electronics lying around. So, if you know somebody who's going to Jamaica or any one of the Caribbean islands and they have young children who are of school age, if you have some extra computers or things around that you don't need, fix them and send them because they're in great need. There's a lot of children who need like a smart device to be able to do their homework. It would make life a little bit easier for them. If you have these things, try and find a way to get it down there. Maybe we could even try and get some
Give them
together
to me.
program. Yes.
You can give them to me if you have tablets,
Yeah.
anything you want to, and it doesn't have to be brand new. It just has to be in working condition.
Yeah.
You don't have to, wipe off your information. And if you want to send them here, we could definitely pass those on to students on the island for
I
school.
think that's something that we should probably try and put together at some point because
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
education is everything, and we are all about empowerment and education, and for people to be able to engage. And the children are the future, and if there's something that we could possibly do to aid that, then we should go for it.
And
Yeah,
the
we
neat thing
definitely
too,
do
you see the kids copying off the homework. They just go up to the wall and they
Yeah.
copy the homework, or the parents take pictures of the homework. It's
Yes.
such a good story. I mean,
Yes.
when you guys shared it with me, I mean, I was just like warm,
Yeah.
warm
Yes.
feeling out of that.
Yeah, that was so innovative. It's like that is a teacher. It's like she's going above and beyond. And as you said, we have so much because right now I have 2 tablets just laying there in good working condition. I just don't use it. And some kid will appreciate those 2 iPads.
Of course.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
We definitely have
Julian
to
said we should
do
call
something.
Apple and have them donate to the cause. Is it that easy if that were the case, I would. If it's
Well,
so
there's a lot of
easy.
businesses and things that are often giving away materials, or Apple. I think Apple, when people go in and there's items that they no longer use, it is a way to kind of refurbish and send them out. Who knows? You never know.
Yeah,
Unless
Yeah, Landy, and even the jobs, like I remember like jobs and schools, like they're every time coming down to like right now, this season, October into December, the end of the year, they give away a lot of computers and laptops. They're changing over stuff right now. Like right now, my company, they are changing over all our laptops before the year ends. So that's a lot of computers to give away. I should look into that and ask what are they doing with the old computers if I can have it.
Yeah.
Julia says it's easy with a try, and I absolutely agree. We don't know unless we try, just by calling.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get some computers to the Caribbean. And I imagine the other Caribbean islands are going through the same thing with COVID. Don't you think, ladies?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
This is a worldwide pandemic. I mean, we're in a situation now where the whole world is going through struggles. So, I mean, it's hard for everyone, but it still feels good to always help somebody else in greater need. And she's doing her part. And I urge everybody to do whatever it is they can do to make somebody else's life feel better.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So Julian Latham, she's my sister, so I want to big her up.
And I'm over here taking all.
Yeah, that's my sister, and she's from Canada.
I'm over here taking all her tips, reading her notes, be like, let's call Apple.
Yes, that's my sister. I want to tell you guys, big up Uno Island, big it up, because I'm gonna big up mine.
I don't have my flag. Oh, look here. I'm sorry. Here we go.
You got it on your neck. Okay, there you go. Big up Uno
to Jamaica.
So let me
I have to get a real flag. I have to get a real flag.
You gotta get one, Hermie. Hermie's representing for Grenada, of course.
I'm in red. Yes. Yeah.
So I want to talk about St. Vincent. So this week, this lovely island celebrated their independence on Tuesday. So happy belated independence from the top 5 at 5. And they are also going to be going through an election on November 5th. So right now we have, that's a big thing. The election in St. Vincent is a big thing. It often comes with a lot of fighting and fussing, sometimes gunshots, sometimes death. People take their politics very, very seriously. Right now, the party in power that has been in power since 2001 is the PPP party that is headed by the comrade Ralph Gonsalves. He's the leader of the party. And they have another party called the NPP party that is the opposing party. I don't know how lucky they're going to be, but you can never say never.
Right.
He's been in power for the last, 19 years? Yeah, 19 years of power. I don't know what's going to become of this election, but I just want to urge everybody to be safe, be careful, and make the right choices. St. Vincent is going through some big transitions right now, especially with this change in legalizing marijuana and becoming like an export for the world. Because St. Vincent is it's known for its rich soil and its sweet bud. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be taking that to a next level. And hopefully this will be something that will boost the economy in St. Vincent and make it a better place for those that live there. So I support you guys, and I'll be watching to see what happens.
When is election day landing in St. Vincent?
November 5th.
November 5th. Okay.
Yeah. So it's interesting things happening there. So we're going to go into one of our big topics, because as you know, we are approaching our election on November 3rd. And I tell you, I've never been so involved in watching everything and learning about this whole process. It's been a real eye-opener how important this 2020 election is. And everybody recognizes this. And Ice Cube, a very, very well-known rapper here in the U.S., after the murder of George Floyd and seeing how things panned out for Black people in this country with the pandemic, when we saw these huge healthcare disparities and we saw all these other problems that were coming out, basically we were kind of left behind. Because when they were talking about all these people dying in America, a large percentage of them are Black. And there's a problem with that, because there's not enough resources allocated, different people get access to better things and so forth. And these things really stood out like a big, big sore thumb during this time. So Ice-T, along with a bunch of other people, they came together and they decided that they wanted to create something. They wanted to create something that came up with real tangible steps that can be taken to try and even the playing field for everybody. Specifically, they made up a document called the Black American Contract. And in this document, or the Contract with Black America, in this document, it's currently a 13-point document that outlines specific things that can be done to improve healthcare, education, housing, lending, prison system, and reform of the police. This is really, really huge. And it's not something that everybody knows about. It's been kept quite quiet, in my opinion. I think the only time it became apparent that they wanted you to know about it is they wanted to say that Ice Cube was now a Trump supporter, which is not a fact. Ice Cube.
And Landy, what if he was? I don't think whether he was or was not I don't think it should matter. I think is his political, his politics and his voting is personal to him. So even if he were, I don't think it should matter.
It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. The point is, and he said it from his own mouth, because I like to listen to people for what he says. He said that he has this plan. He's fed up of Black America going through the motions of showing all this emotion, burning down our neighborhoods, doing all this stuff. And it's Ray, blah, la, 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 la. Nothing happens. It gets quiet after a while. And we go back to the same old thing. His point at this time is that we cannot go back to the old. There's been an awakening, not only in America, but around the world, because when George Floyd died, it affected everywhere. People in India, in Germany, everybody was speaking out against what is happening here in America. And I applaud him and the people that he came together with for trying to come up with something with actual doable things that can make a change. It's not a perfect document. There's a lot more that needs to be included. He said that he is going to include things that address Black women and other issues, but we have a framework to work with. We never had a framework. Mm-hmm. And it's a huge document. It's, well, not that huge. It's 22 pages, and I'm sure it's going to expand to a whole lot more. His goal was to get a political party or political people from either side of the fence to agree that we need to work on these things. And within the first 100 days of office, whoever takes office, like that person to actually start working on these things and make them real bills. So we're not just talking about dreaming now. We're talking about real tangible steps. So Dione, I'd like you to start off with talking about.
Yeah, so I had a chance. I read most of the contract with Black America because before I comment on things, I like to get a full understanding. Okay. So Ice Cube was not the drafter, from what I understand. He's like a proponent of a contract. It was drafted by, I forgot the name of the gentleman at some university. So immediately comes to my mind that this is a scholarly piece, like somebody's publishing. I do like the points that were made, and there were a lot of points, good, valuable points that were made. Mm-hmm. I will say this to my Caribbean folks: we are not a part of this. Like, this contract for Black America does not include the Caribbean folk. Like, even for hints at reparations in the Black contract, it talks about 5 generations removed.
Yes.
2 to 5 generations removed before you even qualify. So for me, I'm not even 1 generation removed, so I wouldn't even qualify. But I've always maintained, and Geraldine, I see your point where you say Ice Cube should definitely, we should matter who Ice Cube votes for. I really don't. I have long taken celebrities and politicians and rappers off of the pedestal that we put them on. I don't have them on a pedestal, so I don't care who he votes for. But in the Black contract with Black America, qualifications, it's the Black family 3 to 5 generations removed who were affected by slavery. So that's one. And there are a lot of points in it. My favorite point, and I know Hermie's going to talk about that, is social responsibility. I am big on social responsibility, so I won't touch on that. But I do want to touch on police reform. And guys, you should look up this contract because it's pretty engaging, and it hits on some points that I think we should all already be benefiting from that. It talks about lending, like bank lending, where we want the interest rate to be the same for white America as it is for Black America. Why is this even an issue today? It shouldn't be. But let's look at police reform. And I made some notes. If you see me looking down, that's because I'm looking at some of the notes that I made. So as it pertains to police reform in the contract with Black America, he talked about getting rid of qualified immunity. So we know that with police officers, they enjoy qualified immunity if, something goes off, or if they they've discharged their firearm in the line of duty. So Ice Cube did talk about qualified immunity being eliminated altogether. I'm a little bit biased. I have my nephew who's a police officer, and we have pillow talk, meaning me and my nephew, we talk about some things. And I don't know if I want qualified immunity to be eliminated. I want to know when my nephew's out there in the field and something happens, he has some kind of protection. So I was a little bit, I'm like, maybe we don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. I know we want to curb police brutality, but I am not for removing qualified immunity. I'll say that. Mandatory malpractice insurance to be carried by police officers like lawyers, I support that, okay? Because if they do something negligently or reckless, if they're negligent or reckless, then the families can go after not only the police department or the city, but they can go after John Doe for being reckless. So I'm looking for things like recklessness or lots of negligence. So that was another one. He also wanted police unions to be held liable when they suppress evidence. I'm all for that. I'm all for that, which is why I'm encouraging everybody to read this contract, because there in the contract are rights which I think Black people have had for a very long time, but they take them away from us. They absolutely take them away from us. Body cam, I support that, leaving the camera on. Because a lot of police officers, the camera goes, all of a sudden the camera is not working when somebody gets hurt. Right. So I am for that. Mandatory name tag requirement. Why is this even an issue? Why should that's what I mean. Like, that's what I mean about this document. I'm like, we should, as a country, we should be ashamed of ourselves as a country.
Of course.
Because why are we asking you, a police officer, a law enforcement officer, to please wear your name tag? You're not undercover. Exactly. If you're on undercover duty, fine. But we're asking you to wear a name tag. Come on. Shame on you. And then chokeholds illegal? Absolutely. Absolutely. Making chokeholds illegal. I encourage everybody to read this, because I was reading it and I was really intrigued with some of the things. It's almost, I feel like as Black people, we're begging crumbs from the table. That's how I feel like. These are things that we should not be asking for. These are things that we should already have, like tampering with evidence. Tampering with evidence. Like, why should we have to have a contract asking you not to tamper with evidence? So you definitely need to read this document. I could go on and on because I made so many notes, because I read all of it, and I love the pointers. Mo says the contract is a great memo, but I think Trump is using it to get the Black vote. Trump is on the record that there's no systematic racism, and I absolutely think, Mo, you're right. But I would say, let's take the Black vote to the highest bidder. Who's going to give us our votes back? Let's bundle up our votes in a basket and take them to the highest bidder. You know how powerful the Black vote would be if we negotiated and marketed the Black vote as a commodity. Make it a commodity. You want my vote, or you want the vote of my people? Here's what we need. You're going to get our vote, but we want all the pointers in that Black contract. First of all, the Democratic Party takes the Black vote for granted, number one. So I would rather have a conversation with a party who is going to give us some of those things, if not all those things in the Black contract.
Exactly. Dion Fraser said, "Where's the document?" If you Google contract for Black America, you'll find the 22-page document. And there's also a lot of stuff on YouTube where Ice Cube is speaking for himself to explain what this means and what was his position and why this was important to bring to the forefront. One of the points I'd like to touch on in regards to police reform, they said that just in the same way that doctors and lawyers and nurses, we all have to work under with a license, they need to work under a license also. So if they go out there and they do things that are found to be against the law, then they could lose their license to work. Just like how with our license, we're nothing, they need to feel that way too. They need to really, really take this job very, very seriously, and it's time for change where that's concerned.
And Mo, I'm not saying President Trump is the highest bidder. I'm saying as a general, I think the Black vote, we need to center ourselves and not just throw our vote in one direction every election. Trump is not the highest bidder, not at all. But I'm saying as a community, we need to start saying, look, we need to have the leaders back like the Malcolm X. Remember those days when we had really great Black leaders who can kind of mobilize us and say, this is direction we're going. This is what we need for the Black community. We don't need a $1,200 stimulus check.
No, we don't.
We need interest rates that are comparable to Sally and them. Yeah, that's what we need. We need our schools to be fully funded, like for Sally and them. We need our teachers to be receiving, or our employees' wage for Black women to be on level. Those are the things that I want to see happening, not just, throwing our vote in one direction and hoping and praying that that person can give us what we need.
Yeah. So there's also a piece in regarding us demanding the things, or, wanting people to recognize that we need to have these things in place in order for us to feel like we can contribute and be on level to live the so-called American dream. There's also a lot of social responsibility that we as a community also has to take. And I think Hermie read some more information on that.
More I listened to more of the conversation on that one on YouTube. I mean, the Black contract, it looks good. Overall, it's a good initiative. I see it really looks good. It's lined up properly. But then I started to ask question, will that ever happen? Will it happen? Because then I started to compare it to abuse victim actually writing a letter to an abuser saying, this is how you should treat me.
Ooh, Hermie.
So that's where I went with that, and I got sidetracked. Because I'm like,
Hermie, you gotta repeat that, because you gotta repeat that.
When I read the Black contract and I started to sit on it, what I compared it to, me as an abuse victim or any abuse victim writing a letter to my abuser, asking him telling him how he should treat me, Would he do that? Would he treat me because he's already oppressing me? He's already abusing me. He wants me to be down. Would he give me all these things that I listed in my letter? And I don't think, he's not going to do that because he wants me where he wants to have me, right? So as much as I'm kind of happy about it, as I'm thinking, I don't think an oppressor is going to give us what we want, knowing that if we get what we want, he is a little bit scared that he's going to be oppressed as well. Because if we rise up and we get everything on this contract, and then I talked to 3 Black Americans yesterday, and we was going over the contract, and they were livid. They didn't even want to hear about a contract. They like, tell me about a reparation. That's what I want to talk about. Yeah. I want to talk about money. When you guys give us our money, then we're going to deal with the Black responsibility, Then we're going to deal with all this other stuff, but give us our money, or whatever, the money that they are due. They want to talk about that first. And then go down on the list. They were livid. It was a heated discussion yesterday on the Black contract. Wow. So what I came up with was, with a Black responsibility, I said, well, maybe it start with at home, It started at home with us mothers. And we say, fathers are there too, but it started with us mothers, teaching our children, teaching our boys how to treat our girls, so the boys could in turn treat their wives better. Teaching them all what he lists there. I'm saying, let us teach our children that in the home, how to save, how have a bank account, how to well, I can't even really touch on the police, because you will teach them how to respond to the police. And as my son said, Mom, we don't know how we're gonna react in that situation. So you cannot even teach us that. So I think with all what he's saying there, if we start in the house, maybe the new generation, like my grandchildren or my children, could start something different.
Right.
And what you say, 5 generations, so that's my great grandkids may see this, what Ice Cube is having on this in this contract. They will see it through. But I think it starts in our community. I think we really, I know we don't have the money, but I think it starts with like us, like having our own supermarkets, our own banks, our own things, like the Jews and the Asians, but we don't have the money to do it like them, like our own schools, so we could teach our children our own history.
Right.
But how we going to start that without money? So, the Black American says they want reparation, and then we could talk about this contract. Otherwise, they're not listening to this at all. And, they have different views than us as from Caribbean people. So when you hear their view on how angry they are, it's kind of like, you got to respect that.
Well, I believe that if we have a contract like this in place, the reparations are going to be coming forth from it, because there's a lot more that addresses, finances and giving money to children. I think $1,000 a year up to 46,000. There's a bunch of different things.
Right.
I don't like the idea of people saying that I need a payout first, or I just need the money, because I do find that my opinion of American people is that they've always been waiting for this big payback. You can get the money and tomorrow you're going to squander it. You can get the money, but you still can't get that loan to buy that house, to build that business. So all of these things are important, because you can't have money, but nobody wants your money. You can't have money and then not know how to spend it, or how to save it, or how to invest. All of these things are going to help with the building blocks to put us somewhere different. It's a very grand idea, and I would really like to see this happen. And despite the fact that the document specifically addresses Black Americans, we are a part of this country. Our children are Black children who are growing up in America. It's going to trickle down somehow, because if they have better lending practices for Black Americans, they're not going to say, well, you're Black Caribbean. I hope not, that this doesn't apply to you. I hope it would apply to everybody, because we're looking to change the way that this whole country operates, which is a very grand idea. A dream starts somewhere and it can move somewhere. Will we be able to put all of this into action? I don't know. It might be baby steps. One other thing I want to mention before we move on to the next topic is prison reform. That was the next thing that they had. And they said in this document that privately run prisons will be abolished.
Closed. Yeah.
Yes. Prison labor disallowed without consent, and nonviolent offenders incarcerated for 10 years or longer will be freed if good behavior standards are met.
And all the marijuana convictions.
Yes, all prisoners for marijuana possessions freed. First offense for illegal drug use or possession to require government payment for entry into an approved drug rehab program rather than imprisonment. Once any prisoner completes their sentence, voting rights are restored. Come on.
I like that.
That's nice.
I do like that.
Yeah, that was very good. Yes. I like that.
There's some really good things. And like I said, nobody has actually formally put these things together. And whoever it is that took the time to flesh this out, it's a starting point. And
I'm curious, ladies, should we have the Caribbean contract with because the Caribbean was a pie for Europe and the rest of the world.
Yes.
They sliced it up and took their piece. Should we have a Caribbean contract for, say, United Kingdom, for Spain, for France? Should we then, as a Caribbean people, mobilize and do something similar where we get, because I think we'll have a bigger voice with our colonizers who have profited off our backs? Should the Caribbean people start talking about this? I don't know if there's a movement or anything with the Caribbean going on, but is this something you think should be getting
Well, you
on?
know what? I think with knowing about this, it should start the wheels turning. People's brains should start thinking, because England and the monarchy owe so much. The whole way that the world was colonized.
Sometimes I can't say either. It's
You know
like
what I'm talking about.
you know what you mean.
This whole thing came about. There was so much raping of the Caribbean islands for their resources, the women, everything. So I do think that there should be a real conversation around that too. But I don't want to belabor all of this too much, because we need to go on a commercial break.
Okay.
A very juicy topic coming up
Yes.
next. We're going to talk about elevation and how to get there. The black way.
Level up.
So,
Hey, I got some good news for you. Looking for a passionate immigration lawyer with experience that spans over 2 decades? Someone trusted that served immigrant families just like yours? Well, look no more. Now you can benefit from her personal and professional experience. Diane Winter Funday. Schedule a consultation now and get assistance with your immigration journey. Specialize in adjustment of status, B1 business visa, B2 visitors visa, consular processing, deportation defense, naturalization, and more. Give us a call today at 813-815-3529. That's 813-815-3529, or online at winterimmigration.com. Attorney Diane Winter Funday. Law done differently.
okay, ladies. So now we're going into part 2. So this week, for all of our top 5 watchers, tell your friends, like and share. This is going to be a hot topic here. We had this conversation because we chat throughout the week about little things that we hear in the news. And there was a spark that came off. I think it was on Tuesday when we started having these discussions. The question was, many grandmothers, Caribbean and otherwise, have said, when you get to America, marry a white man. Marry a white man to elevate. Now, I want to know from our audience, do you think that this was something from back then, or does this same sentiment apply today in 2020? Are we marrying white to level up?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. But I can tell you this, growing up in Jamaica, and I'm going to confess, I did want an Italian. I did want to marry an Italian. I never thought, I don't know, I never classified them as white, because I always thought Americans were white and Italians were like dark.
Right,
you know,
right,
the Sicilians,
yeah.
right? But I think it was a thing where, you know, you marry psychologically, it's like a catch.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was for a man or a woman to marry a white. Growing up, it was. Things and times have changed, but I have to say, yes, it was.
Yeah.
Deion Fraser said, "Who? What?" Back then, it was. Not today. Now we're good, but back then, I can tell you, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, because I remember being like 14, 15, 16, somewhere around there, sitting down on the veranda with my little boyfriend, telling him, right? With my boyfriend, right? Telling him, when I get to America, I'm going to marry to a white guy, and I'm going to have like nice kids with like nice hair and stuff. And he's looking at me like, oh, so we're not going to be together? Mm-hmm. And it was ingrained in my head because I had family who traveled back home, and they would tell me that, oh, when you come to America, marry white and elevate yourself. That's the fastest way to elevate yourself. I even had my mom telling me, like, days before I came to America, is like, look for a white man. I don't know like where you're supposed to find them, but I mean, I that idea in my head until I got here and I landed in Brooklyn, and I was like, oh,
no white man.
What are they talking about? But I think subconsciously they did it. And like even my mother and Dong, they still do it because like I know my mother like will tell my sons like, oh, don't bring no little peaky head great grandchildren for me, get a nice, and then we looking at her
Light
like,
skin or even light skin.
get a nice girl. So because I want to put bubbles in her hair,
Oh wow.
so I mean, my kids don't see it like that. I don't tell them that, but it is still there. Like, because my mom was still like tell my sister, why you guys date such dark skin guys? Like, that's like, whoo, like, and if I like a light skinned person come, they just treat them different. They treat them better. They like bow down to them. They, and if they stretch their hand, they grease their hand with a little $50, $100 or this. That's the best son-in-law ever. That's the best. Oh, he could be doing worse than a black man. And I see white men do worse to black women than a black man. And that Caribbean grandmother or that Caribbean mother is still taking their side today.
And even so, like colorism, especially, I don't know, I'm talking for Jamaica. Even when I went to high school, and, I thank God I was this dark because the light complexion girls were popular. I wasn't popular. I had to take my book. I wasn't popular. Like a lot of guys didn't want to date me growing in high school. The light complexion girls, they were the Miss Jamaica, the Miss Universe. They were the ones that got the cute guys, the cute boyfriends. So even without whiteness, I would say color. They always wanted you to go a little bit lighter. And even like Jamaican men, once they had a little bit of money, whether they were a drug dealer or they get a little bit of money, the first girl they reach after is the light complexion girl.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It seems like the self-hate and the mental slavery is so deep that they've made us get to a point where we don't even like ourselves. And this is so interesting because I grew up in Canada and I was always either the only black girl in class or maybe one of two or one of a few. Only when I got to high school, there was a few girls. I had black friends, but I had a mixed group of friends that I was with all the time. And growing up there, it was it was strange because a lot of the black boys in the high school, they would say that they would date white girls because they were easier to deal with. They said that the black girls challenge them too much or they have too much mouth or they're too sassy or whatever the case may be. That would be the thing. So if you get yourself a white girl's gonna kiss your feet. She's gonna give you all of the boom boom that you want with no argument. That was one of the reasons. And in Canada to this day, you still see a lot of these interracial relationships, but it's more of the black guys with white girls, not necessarily the other way around. So I found that to be very interesting. And my parents raised me. I mean, I'm a dark-skinned woman, and my parents never told me that marrying white was a good thing. It was never even a conversation. My main thing was that they want you to marry somebody who was on your level, somebody who could motivate you. Those were the two main points. Like, does he have a job? Is he going somewhere in life? Those are the things you need to be concerned with. Whether or not he was white or not wasn't important. But the funny thing is that me and my sisters, I have 4 sisters, none of us ever dated white guys. And that were predominantly white.
And as Lacey J say, it is a perception. All these white men do not all have money is such a myth. It is such
an absolute myth. It is a myth. It is a myth. And even Angela says, and she says it with the Jamaican side, she said, my grandpa's side was all white Jamaican. So the light complexion runs deeply in her family. And a lot of people look at her today and don't think she's from Jamaica. Go figure. Yeah, lots of people look at a lot of Jamaicans. But I can tell you there are women back then growing up where, the light was better. And when they catch a white boy that, you caught, meaning for one, they looked at it as not only status, but one changes the complexion of their children, and they're looking at the financial makeup.
Yeah.
Yes.
The financial makeup.
Beyonce said she liked her chocolate thunder.
What did I miss? Did I miss something?
Beyonce said she liked her chocolate thunder.
Yeah. what I can
Say,
say
I
is
love my
man,
family.
a man is a man is a man. White man, they come with the same headache. I was in a long-term relationship with an interracial relationship, and it's the same headache. It's the same headache.
Say,
So
yeah.
there's no silver lining anywhere. Men is men,
No,
man is man,
man, man.
regardless of color. You could get a purple man, he's still gonna give you the
He's still the same issue, same thing. But I can tell you, I agree. The culture here in Jamaica back then really supported, and even now, even now, I get, I get shades of colorism entering into certain places. I'm gonna say even though it's still here.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Well, it is what it is, and I think, I mean, we've just gotten to a point where we're starting to accept natural hair. So accepting each other's
A
skin
step
color,
in the right
and
direction.
it's a step in the right direction. It's baby steps. I mean, we gotta
Yes.
start somewhere to move somewhere else. And to all those grandmothers out there who are looking for those children with the nice hair, I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of the so-called nappy-headed kids.
It's coming your way,
Yeah.
Grandma.
Coming your way. You know what? I love nappy
Coming
hair.
your way.
I love it. Right now, my hair was straight today, but tomorrow or next week, you'll see me just like Dione, because we can change our hair. Our hair is beautiful, just like it is. We can go from curly to straight to tight curls to weave to wigs. Girl, we have lots of options, and Black people are beautiful people in all different shades of brown, and we just need to love one another.
And just a disclaimer from the Ride Along crew supports all couples, Black, white, pink, or purple.
That's
Even
right.
gray, any color.
Julian Latham says we were too English to be Caribbean, and we were too Caribbean to fit in with Canadians. I was told not to be Jamaican, so I married one. Yeah, that's right. She's the only one in the family who's married to a Jamaican. That's
Rock, Julian Latham.
Yeah.
It's so funny she says that. It's so funny. I think there's a poll. We did a poll. Landy, we were talking also about the married men. I know we weren't going to get into that, but I'm sorry if I'm jumping the gun.
How could we not get into that? How could we not?
Yes, we have to.
Because I'm dying.
Yeah, we have to. That's
this one now. This topic is about. I belong to a group for waist training, and somebody
what kind of training?
Waist training. You know, like how waist trainers, people are wearing these things to bring their
group for that.
Yes, everything on Facebook. So I love this group because we have these great conversations, and they also show you how to tighten your waist and how to use the corsets to narrow your figure and all of these.
Right.
So a person put a question up. She says, I've been dating this guy for 10 months, and he just told me he's married. What do you think I should do? I'm 44 years old, and the sex is good. What should I do?
Is he Jamaican?
She didn't say. We didn't get to
joking. I'm just joking. I met Jamaican men a hard time.
I know. So that was the question that was put out there, and there was so much feedback. So much feedback.
Let's see what the audience
negative and positive. What do you guys say?
She married COVID belly. I think the group, everybody is at waist training group. So you might have to repeat that question, Landy, because everybody's caught up with the waist training.
Waist training? Okay. It's a group on Facebook, and it's a group of women that talk about waist training. And someone in the group posed a question, because we don't just talk about waist training. We talk about all kinds of stuff. And this particular woman decided to share that she's dating somebody who happens to be married, and he only told her after 10 months. She's already hooked on him. She's 44 years old. She doesn't want to be looking all over the place for somebody. She has this guy. She likes what she's getting. And she's wondering, what should she do? Should she roll with it, or should she bounce? So what do you think?
It depends on her. It depends on her intention. What are your intentions? You hope he's going to marry you someday?
He probably won't.
He probably won't.
Yep.
And just remember, the same way you get him, the same way you're going to lose him.
Exactly. A lot of people are saying that, you know, you could get a cheap handbag and maybe a dinner at Red Lobster from him, but he's got a family to take care of.
Yeah.
He's got things he's got to do, so you'll never be number one.
But you said the sex is good, right, Landy?
Yeah, this is what she said.
Good sex is hard to give up.
Well, you could also get.
I'm weighing. I'm balancing.
Yeah. I mean,
He's
seriously,
married.
Oh my God, but my moral compass is telling me I don't want somebody to do that to me though.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to do that to another woman. Like
what goes around comes
I
around.
would do a Dion Fraser say, slap him and walk away. For lying to me for the last 10 months. But you're right. Good sex is hard to give up, but I would have to talk myself out of that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, culturally, back in the day in Jamaica, married men had 2 families easily, acceptably.
Well, that's only in Jamaica. I think that's the Caribbean altogether.
Okay. And it was out in the open. You'd be like, wait there. But that was Charlie with his wife, and then Master Charlie lived with sons. And then Master Charlie, wife and girlfriend in the supermarket fighting for years. And he's not in any of them.
Yeah, I think that there's stories all over the place. There's many stories like that because I think that a lot of men feel that it's their given right to behave that way. They don't want
to. Noel said, did I really say that? Because I said it's good sex is hard to give up. I don't want to judge nobody. She said 10 months she's hooked. I don't want to judge her. I don't want to judge.
If she's 44 and she doesn't want to run around anymore, then I guess she could be, she could be satisfied with being the side hen, as somebody said in the chat group. She's not a side hen. I mean, if that's what you aspire to be in life, then go for it. But like I said, I'm with Hermie on this. My morals, being the person that I am, I couldn't feel comfortable with that. And when you take this person out and you're in circles, how do you introduce this person? He's just my friend.
My friend.
Let's tell them the aspire in life.
The same way you lose them.
From the Caribbean, our grandparents told us married men have cuss. So I still have that on my mind. Like if I sleep with a married guy, like nothing good is gonna happen to me. Okay. Like my grandmother, she said never go with a married man. Married men have curse. C-U-R-S-E. They you're cursed. It's like you will never, nothing good is going to happen to you. So I have that in the back of my head as a belief. And I feel like if I go there, and I mean, if you think about it, it's like, you block yourself from getting the person that you really want to be with. Because if you stay with a man that is married, you are telling yourself that you cannot get someone that is single or someone that loves you for you. So I'm going to settle for this because I'm 44 years old now. No one is going to really. But you see people starting new relationship every time, 50, 60, 70, starting relationship. So I would cut him loose. I couldn't do it to her. I couldn't do it. And then the wives now are starting to beat the side chicks in outside in public. Like,
I've seen that, the fighting with the wives and the side chicks. And
even in the African culture, and that kind of stuff.
In the African culture too.
So, you mess with the wrong wife and you can lose your life. Because some wives take their situation real serious. They're gonna fight,
Yes.
We want to protect what we have, even though it might not be that good. But
we're gonna protect it.
Yes,
we're gonna definitely defend it because that's our families. That's our our partners that we're building a whole life with. And this young lady, at 44 years as a side hen, she should be thinking, okay, I'm 44 years old. I'm going to give myself away to somebody who can't really give me much. She should be looking for house, land, and cars, and maybe some gold bars and some investments. Because if you're going to give away yourself, give away yourself to get something back tangible. At least you could say, well, I have a new car in my driveway. He gave me my down payment for my house.
So even if he's married, stay with him and get things?
That's what, if you're going to be that, I think it's worse to stay with a married man and give away yourself for free.
Okay.
Why not get something? I would rather get something out of it.
You guys read in the comments. They just let loose in the comments. They said, Dion said, beat his ass, go find an old man. Mara said, trickle it down to friends with benefits, they are just getting wild.
But let me ask you this, ladies. Let me ask you, Landy and Hermie and audience. I notice we're saying the woman, like the wife, beating people. Shouldn't the wife beat the husband?
Yes.
She should be the husband, yes.
She
I
shouldn't
agree
be
with that.
beating the side head.
Yeah, I don't
should be
feel.
beating
Yeah, I
the
don't feel she
husband.
should. Yeah, I don't feel she should. Yeah, I don't think she should be have anything to do with a woman, because me being married for myself, and I remember I took responsibility and say, you know something, I opened the door. Somebody was passing. They saw the door open. They said, you know, hey, I'm gonna enter. So I don't think we, you know, I like my ex is still with the ex he cheated on me with. So probably that was for him. So now we leave the door open, and we as wives sometimes have to know how to close that door sometimes, because we leave it open because we take things for granted. Like, I never thought we was gonna, even though I didn't know I was in an abusive relationship, I still didn't think we was gonna break up. Because I was like, yeah, he loves me, he ain't going nowhere. He loves me. I could tell him anything. So when we leave that door open and that person comes in and say, you know something, hey, maybe he's a good man for her, and she goes with him, me and that woman don't have anything, never had anything. I think the issue is with you and the husband.
Yeah. I think it goes both ways, because if I were to come across a side chick, I'm going
Landy just look like she gonna fight.
Yeah. Everybody's going down. If I'm gonna be embarrassed and you bringing me down, everybody gonna get some.
I think I would beat him. I would have questions for her, because you know the man, he's gonna lie.
Of course.
So I would have probably questions for the side chick, because if side chick is finding out 10 months later that he's married, I bet she's gonna be honest. Or hurt. She's gonna be hurt enough to say,
Hurt, yeah.
You know, I did, because she's just finding out. So I would not go after her. As the wife,
invested 10 months.
The husband.
Yeah.
That's where my qualms would be.
So we gonna beat the husband. So you agree to people this
Backside, yes.
I know. Lacey J said men should be held accountable too. No woman cannot mess with your husband if he doesn't want to be messed with. And you are 100% right. He's the one that you have a contract with. He's the one that you married. So he's the one that who's accountable to you. So really, I was just joking about beat everybody's ass and stuff.
Right.
He's the one who's accountable to
and you know, when we find ourselves in that position, who knows? I probably start swinging at everybody just because you're hurt too.
Reactive abuse, because
we're not perfect. Yeah. We're not perfect. We just swing.
Yeah. But she have to let loose, because she's gonna get hurt in the end. He's never leaving his wife, and that's the end.
He's not leaving his wife.
Yeah. Because they always say, "Oh, my wife is fat." Oh, I don't like this. I don't even live in the same bedroom. I'm not in the bedroom. Meanwhile,
I'm saying that for the kids. That's a popular one.
Oh yes, of course. It's because of I can't leave my children. Meanwhile, the children are 18 and 30,
20, and are away in college.
Away in college. We're talking about kids. We're talking about protecting the children. Come on.
Most time the men leaves is we as a wife push them out. Like when they leave is most of the time we are the ones push them out. They do not get up and just leave us. We are the one who's like, we don't want a relationship.
I think it's really rare that I think women, even though they're with a man and the relationship is not going well and the husband has messed up, it's usually women who usually take the stand to say, I don't want this no more. Because a man to play the game forever. It's very few men that are the ones that back away and said that I want something else and I'm gonna leave this situation.
100%.
They'll continue playing their dirty games though, right? They'll continue living 2 or 3 lifestyles of comfort.
Oh yeah.
Absolute comfort. Meanwhile, us the women be like, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah, we's the one that's done. Like, I'm done.
But generally, a lot of Caribbean men think that that's the Caribbean way. Because I have some relatives, I'm telling you, these are some real good looking men. And I'm glad that they're my relatives because they're very sweet, very charming, and they have all these nice qualities about them. And it's easy to get hooked into them. But they all have their wives and they figure, you know what, I work hard. You know, I take care of my family. So what?
If you have a little side house.
Girlfriend. So what if I go on vacation with this one and I'm out with that one and my wife, and then they'll call their wives at home and say, "Hey, baby, how are you? I miss you so much, sweetheart." Put down the phone.
But he does.
Go with girlfriend. I'm sitting there watching them like, really? This is what you do? Really? Really,
But he
cuz?
does miss, but he's telling the truth. He misses his wife.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. Deanne Fraser says clothes in a Walmart bag.
Yeah, and I agree with Julian. I am not blaming myself for the end of any relationship. I'm gonna take responsibility. I might say, you know what, maybe I could have cooked dinner 3 times a week instead of 1 time a week.
Right.
So I'll do some soul searching. But if somebody cheats and go out the door, that's not my responsibility. It doesn't even. I don't care if I gained 100 pounds over when you met me. No, it's not my fault.
Right.
I'll take some responsibility.
But it's not your fault.
It's not my fault. No.
Right.
For your weakness.
Yeah.
I'm not taking blame for your weakness.
No, me too. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
All right.
this is a very interesting conversation, ladies, and the top 5 audience. We are
Just
going to wrap
real
up.
quick, I know we're wrapping up. 83% says yes for the Black America
For the
contract.
Caribbean.
83% said yes. 17% said no.
Said no.
For the
Okay.
black contract in the Caribbean, similar
Yes.
for the Caribbean, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's great. It's good that
That's
the
nice,
people have the poll down there.
Mhm.
All right, ladies and gentlemen who are out there, thank you for joining us on the top 5. And we will see you next week at the same time.
I can't believe it goes so
Great
fast.
topic.
Very fast. Thank you guys. This was wonderful.
Thank you, Dion. Thank you, my
Victoria,
cousin, Ron, my
thank you.
sister,
Next week.
Keisha.
Thank you, Geraldine, Lacey J, Dion Fraser, Julian Latham.
Yes. Thank you.
Vera
Petra.
Noel,
Is it
Keisha.
Petra or Peter? I wanted to thank
Thank you, guys.
Peter. Peter, if I'm saying the name wrong, Peter or Petra, thank you.
Okay. We're thinking.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Is it too early to celebrate Christmas?
No, not really.
Because on Sunday, November 1st from 6 p.m., Megaforce Promotions presents the massive Christmas in November Bingo Online. And get this, you can win a whopping $20,000. Tickets cost only $20. Available now on gotofet.com or numerous box offices island-wide. And if that's not enough, look out for a live performance by Terra the Governor. Terra the Governor. Sunday, November 1st. Join the fun and excitement online. Play Waggity Virtual Bingo. The new way to play bingo.
Do you emoji? I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Do you emoji? You should. Emoji, a brand new social media platform where you can social your way. With a simple and quick way to engage, meet new friends, and social the way you just love to. No annoying blocking or censorship. Check out emoji.com from your mobile or desktop PC. Emoji.com. Do you emoji? Well, you should. Log in now. Emoji.com. Do you emoji?
Emoji.com. Log in, sign up, and emoji.